Listen, over the years, I've reported on some pretty messed up shit. I've seen situations like yours 100 times. It doesn't have to make you a bad man.
Carley is one of the most tragic and overlooked figures in The Walking Dead. Despite being a determinant character, she embodies a powerful symbol of justice and integrity, leaving a profound impact on those who take the time to notice. Yet many players either miss her significance entirely or underestimate her true depth. In this video, I'll explore how Carley is not just a compelling character, but a nuanced and deeply affecting presence in the game, one whose influence resonates far beyond her screen time. Let's dive into the story of one of The Walking Dead's most heartbreaking and misunderstood characters. Before the apocalypse, Carley was a reporter for WABE in Atlanta, a job that exposed her to the full spectrum of human behavior: innocence, guilt, darkness, and light. This context is crucial because when The Walking Dead begins, Lee is a convicted murderer, and Carley not only knows about his crime, but was the very reporter assigned to cover it. In the old world, her duty would have been to expose Lee's past, broadcasting his actions regardless of his consent. But in this new world, her first major decision is the exact opposite, choosing to keep Lee secret and even affording him the luxury to confess to it in his own time. This choice is significant for two reasons. First, it shows that Carley is one of the first characters to recognize that the old rules no longer apply. While others cling to remnants of their past lives, hoping for a return to normalcy, Carley understands that those days are gone. Second, it reveals that despite her previous role as a societal judge of sorts, she now chooses to step away from that position. She becomes what I would call an anti-judge, a stark contrast to other characters who still enforce moral judgment, as if the old world still exists. In my Lee video, I discussed the symbolic importance of judges and how they force Lee to confront his past. Carley, however, is different. Her purpose is to help Lee accept himself and his actions, not to condemn him but guide him toward redemption. With her support, Lee has the chance to come clean to the group, to tell his story on his own terms before the world has a chance to judge him again. This makes her one of the most pivotal characters in the story, a fact made even more striking given that her presence is entirely determinant. Carley's strong personality, practical skills, and genuine kindness toward Lee and Clementine are key factors that make her the overwhelmingly popular choice over Doug for most players. While both have their pros and cons, Carley's proactive efforts in securing the drugstore and motel is just one of many reasons she stands out as a stronger asset for survival, outweighing Doug's more passive contributions. From the outset, she demonstrates her moral compass by insisting they help Irene, the woman at the motel, rather than allowing her to end her life.
Give it to her.
What? You can't be serious.
Do it.
No!
This moment not only underscores her skill, but also reveals her compassion and strong ethical values. She's a supportive, level-headed presence who, despite her natural leadership qualities, consistently chooses to step back and remain neutral. Rather than asserting control, she becomes a steady ally to Lee, fostering a bond that hints at a potential romantic path, a connection that remains both understated and undeniably significant. This isn't to say that she plays completely neutral, however. Carley takes action when she feels it's necessary, saving Lee and Clem at the pharmacy, stepping up to Lilly multiple times, and investigating the bandit raid. Carley is one of the few characters who consistently makes rational, sensible decisions, never endangering others for ego or engaging in pointless arguments, a key factor in her likability. Carley also serves as a moral compass for the group, standing up for the innocent and calling out wrongdoings on both sides when necessary. Having already recognized that tribalism and allegiances no longer matter, she understands that survival hinges on good ideas, not on who presents them. This perspective inevitably rubs some people the wrong way, particularly those whose morality and sanity are gradually eroding. Despite the growing hostility, Carley remains resolute, refusing to compromise her principles or concern herself with how others perceive her. All in all, Carley is a stable, reliable presence, one of the few characters you genuinely feel you can trust. Yet her time in the group is tragically brief. As Lilly's mental state deteriorates, she abruptly targets Carley, killing her in a shocking symbolic act that carries far more weight than most players realize. While Carley chose to withhold judgment, the world around her did not, ultimately condemning her for a crime she never committed. In a group crumbling under the weight of suspicion and paranoia, her refusal to back down and her unwavering defense of the innocent become her undoing. The failed investigation into the missing supplies is the catalyst that drives Lilly, the daughter of a strict authoritarian father, to commit a devastating act, taking Carley's life. It's a grim symbolic representation of how authority crushes the innocent. A reporter and investigator murdered due to a failed investigation. It's an achingly tragic and poetic end for Carley, but it's also a haunting lesson for Lee. This time, he's not the one taking a life out of desperation. He's the one losing someone he cared for, mirroring the pain he inflicted on his wife. The only person willing to look past Lee's past is now a victim of it. The loss of one of the most intelligent, strong, and supportive characters encapsulates the core theme of the entire franchise. It's not the dead we fear, but the living. In that moment, Carley, and by extension Doug, become the first casualties of Kirkman's brutal reminder that in this world, the true threat isn't the walkers, it's the people. Carley's death also symbolizes both the death of justice and the death of love. But there's a third, equally significant reason for her demise. By this point, Carley had guided Lee as far as she could. With the Stranger's arc looming, Clementine's disappearance would become the ultimate test of Lee's strength. No more comforts, no more emotional support, just Lee, stripped of every ally, facing the world alone as the story hurdles toward its grim conclusion. While Carley's death was necessary for Clementine's arc to fully develop, it remains an immensely frustrating loss of such a well-crafted, morally grounded character, one who supported Lee and the group as much as she could. Had she survived, her bond with Lee likely would have deepened, potentially positioning her as a stabilizing presence for both him and Clementine. Though much of Carley and Clementine's connection occurs off-screen, there are key moments that highlight Carley's protective and nurturing nature. When Duck and Clementine are drawing, she's seen sitting nearby, quietly watching over them. Later, she even goes out of her way to give Clementine batteries for her walkie-talkie, a small yet thoughtful gesture that underscores her attentiveness. When offered food at the motel, she turns it down in case Lee or Clem might need it. Among the group, Carley is arguably the most emotionally invested in both Lee and Clem, fostering a connection that hints at what could have been a surrogate mother-daughter relationship. A subtle yet telling detail that underscores Carley's lasting impact is that in Season 2, Clementine can lie to Carver and tell him her name is Carley.
What's your name?
It's a small but significant moment, suggesting that Carley remains one of the few people Clem remembers fondly and perhaps still misses. Despite her tragic end, Carley's influence endures through Lee and Clem. They carry forward the lessons she imparted: self-reliance, confidence, and most importantly, honesty. Her emotional and social impact was far greater than many realize, and in the end, she was a fan favorite for a reason. She was a genuinely remarkable character. All of these reasons are why so many fans feel that Carley not only deserved better, but was also a tragically wasted character. Thank you to my awesome members Gog and Wizardelf for making these videos possible. A huge shout out to all who've watched. The support recently has been absolutely incredible. Truly, thank you all.